Good evening, friends. Welcome to another episode of Let's Connect show on KONNECTiN. Today, we're going to look at how to create Facebook Messenger rooms, and we're also going to look at the live broadcast feature within the Messenger rooms. By the way, if you are new to our show, please drop in a comment and let us know where you're from, and a warm welcome to our show. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Vijil Bose. I am the host of this Let's Connect show on KONNECTiN. We provide live streaming tips and strategies to help you create professional looking live content. So if you think that you're going to get benefited with the information that we provide to this channel, please consider subscribing to our channel and click the notification icon so that you will not miss any single content that we do in the future. Today, we're going to look at how to create Facebook Messenger rooms. In May 2020, Facebook introduced the new feature within Facebook called Facebook Messenger rooms. Some people argue that this feature is actually competing against one of the popular web conferencing solutions out there called Zoom. But I would say that they are not really competing. Actually, they are actually complementing in some ways. And there are some common elements between the two applications, but they are completely different technologies. Zoom, on one hand, they are mainly focusing on business customers, whereas Facebook Messenger rooms is actually focusing on consumers like you and me. There are a few ways that you can create messenger rooms, and one way to do is actually through your Facebook account. And the beauty of messenger room is that you can actually create a room with a unique link and actually share that link with your participants, and the participant they don't have to have a Facebook account. Due to the pandemic situation that Zoom saw a sudden influx of consumers actually started using their application. And Zoom also has a facility within the applications where you can actually stream your meeting into live into multiple destinations like Facebook and YouTube, for example. And on the other hand, Facebook also has got a broadcast feature. That means once you have participants join your room, you have an ability to actually go live on Facebook profile or business profile if you are a business owner, or if you have a business page, or you can also go live into one of the groups that you created as part of your business page. And so that's also a fantastic feature. So today we're going to look at the different ways of creating messenger rooms. The first way that I would like to show you is using a Facebook account. So I have a page up here. 1 second, let me get to my room. I have a page up here. Here is my personal profile page, and if I click on the home icon, if you're logged on to your Facebook profile, and just click on the home icon, and under that you see all the posts, and right above the post there is an option to create a messenger room. So I clicked on that, and I see three options here. The first is room activity. That is nothing but you can actually choose they're giving some templates here. You can pick and choose what activity that you're involved in for creating the room. I chose my default, which is Vijil's room. Second is who is invited, which is very important. Here there are two options. Either you can invite your friends on Facebook. When you choose that option, and there is not much you can do, you just save that as a preference that basically everybody on the friends list that can actually join the room. And second is basically invite specific friends. If you choose that, you will be presented with the options to choose some of your friends, or you can actually skip that. And when you skip it, actually there is another option that pops out is asking whether to turn on link sharing. Excuse me. What that means is you can, when you create a messenger room, it creates a unique link that you can share with your participants. And if you keep it on, that sharing part is actually, that means you can actually share that link with your participants, including people who are not your friends. They may not be your friends on Facebook, and or Messenger. And if you keep link sharing off, no one will be able to join your room. All right, so I just keep it on. So if I keep it on, I'll see that the people with the link, that is the option. Then I just click on create room, the room will be created. Okay, and the third option is basically it's just a scheduling part. When you click on it, you will have an ability to actually put in the date, start date and the start time, or you can actually reset it to now. Now means actually you are creating the room now, and actually share that link with your participants, and they can actually join your room. It's that simple. It's just it's not very complicated at all. And this is one way to create Messenger room. Like I said earlier, there are multiple ways you can create Messenger rooms. And in today's demonstration, I'm going to be using Facebook Messenger app on PC. And you can also install the same thing on your desktop. If you're a PC user, you can install it on a PC, but I have a Mac environment. I'm going to be using the Facebook Messenger app on the Mac. All right, and you can also create Messenger rooms using Facebook app or a Messenger app on your mobile device. That option is also out there. And I have not tried creating rooms using WhatsApp or Instagram. And when I read about it, actually they are saying that they have an ability to do that. I have not tried it. I have not explored it. So, share your experience in the via comments. So I'm so eager to know your experience about your experience with the Facebook Messenger rooms. All right. So today, actually for today's demonstration, I've invited 4 of my good friends to join us this evening. I invited them to join my room so that they will be available. And I just want to show you the live demonstration of how participants join your room, and the various options that are available to me as a host when people join the room. All right, without further ado, let me introduce my guest to you. All right, here they are, and they're all accomplished individuals in their own fields. Let me introduce Sangeeta. Sangeeta, please say hi. And I've asked all of them to mute their audio so that it doesn't really affect our main show. And Sangeeta is a homemaker, and she's also a housewife. She is actually serving a board of a non-profit organization called EDU Girls. I will have all the links to their personal profiles and links in the description after the show. And she is also a filmmaker. She's an actress, she's a writer, she's a director. She all rolled into one individual. And above all, she's a great human being to hang out with. And towards her right side, is actually on the left side, is Jiju Nair. Jiju is an IT executive working for Fannie Mae. He's a musician. He's also an actor. And he lives with his family in my neighborhood. And the bottom, actually on the right side, is Vidya Nair. She is a homemaker, and she's also an IT project manager working in the Salesforce as a Salesforce subject matter expert. She works for Freddie Mac, and she is also an avid gardener, and she has a website called whatsyourhomestory.com. She blogs whenever she gets time, and you may want to check that out. There's tons of information that I'm sure that you will find it useful to you. And I will have her blogging channel in the description after the show is completed. And towards her left side is actually Sanjay Kumar. Sanjay is an entrepreneur. He runs his own business. He is also a theater artist, and he is also an actor. And that's about my guest, actually. And thank you so much, all of you guys joining this evening. So without further ado, let me get into the demonstration part. So this is when you let me add our audience reaction to the broadcast. Hey, thank you, Maya. Thank you, Thank you. What's your home story, Malayalam? Thank you, Vidya. And so we have these, okay, as soon as you create the room from Messenger, let me quickly go into the Messenger option here. 1 second. I'll bring you back to the show. We go to this one. I have Messenger. Okay, there you go. So this is a Messenger view. So when you, Messenger has on the top left corner, there is a camera icon with a plus sign. You click on that. That is how you initiate a Messenger room. And this is what you see. Sorry, not this one. This is the one. This is the one that you see when you create a room from Messenger. This is the first screen that you see. And then waiting for others to join, and you have this link. You can actually copy this link and send it to your friends and people with the link. This is an option here that you can edit. When you click on that, you will be presented with these options. Who can join? People with the link or only people on Facebook? So you can actually choose whatever option that you want. People with the link, that means anybody with a link can join your room. And you save that preference, and that's it. So now I already did that, friends. So that's how these people joined me earlier. So now, once they are here, as a host, you can actually have more options available to you. Now, let's actually take a look at the first option. First option is a screen share option. That means, let me get into the actually call list. So if you click on the call participants, you will be able to see all your participants here. So as a host, you can actually choose who you want to keep in your room. So you can actually remove them from the room. And there is an option here. So by default, your room is unlocked because you chose people with the link, right? So anybody who has that link can actually enter your room. So once you're satisfied with everybody joined your room, then actually you can actually lock the room. Once you lock the room, you will not, nobody else can join the room, even with the link. And that's about this. Then now you can actually share this link and to invite others to join. That option you can copy and send it via email, or your preferred means to actually communicate it to your participants. And there is an option here. I can actually turn off my video as a host, and I have an option here to mute my microphone, and I have an option to leave the room. So once I leave the room, since all these participants are here, if I leave the room, I am actually terminating this actually room session. So I will be kicking out all my participants abruptly, which is not what I want to do. And there is an option here to share your screen. And share your screen, actually let me go back to the see call participants under settings. Now you go under settings. There is an option here, screen sharing. This is only global option. As a host, you can control. That means you can allow others to share their screen as well by enabling this button. But if you disable this option, that means no one will be able to share the screen. So if you are doing a presentation or something like that, then you may want to enable this option for your participants to do that. All right. So now, and on the top right corner, there's a three dotted, it's actually more like a menu option. And if you click on it, you will be presented with the three options here. You can choose device settings, speaker view, enter full screen. And if you click on the device settings, here comes the interesting part. So the first thing is basically you can choose your camera options here. I chose my camera because my main camera is coming through my live streaming switch, which is actually, it's a Blackmagic. So that's why I chose here. So I have got quite a few options here. So now there is an option called virtual camera. So what that means is actually is that there are certain applications that you use, especially on a PC or on a Mac environment. For example, if you're using Open Broadcast software, for example, or applications like Ecamm Live, it's a live streaming application on Mac environment. And those applications, especially with the Pro account with Ecamm Live, they provide an ability to use a virtual camera. What that means actually is it enables you to bring all your production settings into other applications. For example, Messenger Rooms, for example. And Zoom also has the capability to use virtual camera. And there are a host of applications out there. So if I choose that, my view will be like this, because that is my setting, and that is what you are seeing actually now. But I don't want to choose that now, but that is what the virtual camera option is all about. Sometimes you may want to use that. For example, if you're doing some professional level presentations, so that you have more custom layouts available within your live broadcasting application, then you may want to bring that into your Messenger Rooms. So that option is there. So then you can actually choose your microphone, what microphone you choose. By default, it will be your, it'll be your PC or your Mac. I've got a range of options here. So mine is actually, I chose my audio mixer, and audio output is also chosen. But here then you have a bunch of keyboard shortcuts that you may want to pay attention to. So these shortcuts are available to you at your disposal. You can use at any time you want. And if you're using a Stream Deck, a device from Elgato, that means that you can actually use it to configure multi-actions with just like a push button, easy clicks. So you can actually configure hotkeys with a Stream Deck device, and then you can control some of these settings within your Messenger Room. So that's about this. Now, going to the speaker view. The speaker view is actually, there is no global setting that you can configure. In Zoom, that's the beauty of Zoom. Zoom actually has an ability to automatically configure the speaker view. That means if you're speaking, you will be in focus as a speaker. But here, it is an individual responsibility. Then they have to enable that feature. That is one thing that I wish Messenger Rooms added as a global setting, but they don't have that feature. And then there is, now one of my participants enabled that speaker view. So his camera is actually in focus. And now actually I'm going back to the grid view. So now there is another option here that means, you can go live. That's another beautiful option out there. And if everybody concurs, if you want to take it to the next level, that means you want to share your meeting or with the rest of the world, you can actually go live on Facebook profile. Zoom, Zoom has got options to go live into multiple destinations, for example, YouTube and Facebook. But Facebook, it doesn't make any sense for them to even send you to YouTube, because YouTube is not one of their platforms, right? Facebook wants you to spend more time on Facebook. That's how they make money. So it makes perfect sense for them to even go live into their own domain. So now what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to test this broadcast live. So when I click on the broadcast live, it's actually giving this option. So leave title. So I'm going to type in a title called test. So here I can either send this broadcast to my timeline, my personal Facebook timeline, or I can also share into a page that I manage. So if I choose that, I have got so many options here, or I can share it to a group. So here I'm going to go into the groups. So now, okay, so there are a bunch of groups here. Oh, sorry, I think I chose the wrong group. I'm a member of so many groups, so let me pick one. Okay, I'm going to choose KONNECTiN Community Network. It's a private only group, so I'm going to go choose that group. So this is a glitch that I mentioned earlier, right? So during my testing, I tried to go live into my Facebook profile. What happened was, you know, I could go live into my profile, but what, it didn't give me an option to end the broadcast. That end option was disabled for me. And I tried several times. And after about almost 5 or 6 times, that end option was enabled for me, but then it was erroring out. So I sent that screenshot to Facebook Messenger group. So I don't know what they're going to do with it. They have not responded to my trouble ticket. So that's something that you need to look out for. If you choose to go live into your Facebook profile, maybe, I don't know, is it something to do with my profile settings, or is it to do with the app that I'm using on Mac environment? I don't know that. So maybe it's just to do with the app on the Mac environment. Maybe if you're a PC user, your experience is going to be a little different. So, but that's something that you need to be aware of. So here, I'm choosing to go live into KONNECTiN community network. So now, when I click next, it presents this option. That means you need to have all the participants confirm before we can start our live broadcast. Once you go live, the room will automatically lock. That means no one can enter the room because we are already on air. And you can unlock the room at any time during the broadcast. So that means as a host, I have the flexibility to unlock the room. So if you were to create this the room from Facebook and choosing your friends option, that means if you have thousands of friends in your friends list, and then all of them will be able to see this room available, and they can all join the room. So that is something that you need to be aware of. So here, everybody has to say okay, and here Juju Nair, he says not yet confirmed. So he can choose to remove. That means he can opt him out if he doesn't want to concur. If he doesn't want to approve that, that option, he can actually choose to remove himself from the room. So now everybody approved, and then the room is actually locked. So now we can actually start the broadcast. So officially, now that you see that option, the room is now locked, and we are on air. So now we can actually quickly go back to a community network page and see whether that option, that live broadcast is it's coming okay or not. So I have this Facebook group already here. See that? Here you go. So this is there. So that broadcast is here, and you will be able to see that. So that's how it is. Now, I can actually end this live broadcast by clicking it. So now these options are already there, and I just have to end it. So that broadcast is ended now. So that is it. This is a beautiful option. This is another alternative option out there if you want to play with it. And some people, actually majority of the people, don't know whether this feature is there or not, because at least I don't think any of my friends that I talk to are aware of this messenger rooms, because they were all using Zoom, and Zoom's free account. With a free account, you also see that that 40-minute cutoff time, because you will be thrown out, and then you'll have to reinitiate that Zoom session again. And that, if you can work around that limitation, you can, that's fine. But this is another alternative that you can actually choose to have the similar experience with your friends, or with your family and friends, or your business partners if you're a small business owners, to have ad hoc meetings and things like that. And I just wanted to have these my guests to enable their audio, so that they can share their experience with you guys. Friends, please unmute your audio. Sangeeta, you go first. know,
What should I talk about?
say something.
Okay, so I'm very excited to be here. Thank you, Vijay, for including me in this test. I'm learning a lot. So it's very interesting. A lot of it is tech jargon, which is going straight above my head, but
Yes,
I'm definitely learning quite a bit about the differences between Zoom and, all these various apps. So it's kind of new territory for me, but a lot to learn.
right.
And I'm getting to meet some fun people tonight. So that's happy to be here.
All right. And the thing actually is actually we have to be little techie because we all live in that unprecedented times, right, of COVID. So that's the only way we can connect with people is through this technologies, right? It's already advanced and this enables for us, right, to be in touch with other people. So we have to be a little tech savvy to use
Yes.
these ones, right? All right,
Yes.
Juju. Uh,
Thanks, Vijay, for inviting me in this experiment, I would say. But still, it's a worthwhile one. As you said, during this COVID times as well as the times that we live in right now, this makes a lot of sense. Um, I think from the corporate world to the basic personal level, right? Community organizations, corporate entities, uh, even for personal needs, you are using a lot of collaboration software like these. So one of the aspects that you mentioned is Zoom, right? Zoom has taken off like anything in the last 6 months, I would say, and there are limitations that comes with it. 40 minutes is definitely one of them, and some people have been forced to buy professional accounts because of that. I know myself; I'm part of a huge organization here, and they either have bought the professional edition or they are utilizing an existing business license, which is good. But by providing this existing capability to small time people like us, right, who are running small organizations, not big ones, or even groups like, let's say, drama groups or filmmaking groups or even music groups, this is very useful. Um, One aspect I want to look into further down the line, maybe you can explore on it, is the sound syncing mechanism. Is there any way, for example, musicians would like to see if there is a quality sound transmission mechanism where there is less lag, which is one of the main pain points that we as musicians experience. There are many software that demand you to plug into directly to a router, not by using Wi-Fi, and some of them don't even provide quality. So if this works in that level too, then it can apply to much more broader spectrum of consumers.
right.
But otherwise, I think thanks for exposing us to this
Right. Actually, to
facility.
answer that question, I think if you really wanted to take it to a new level, then I would highly encourage you to don't use Wi-Fi at all. You always have to hardwire into your computer, and from there you actually invite people to join your room. Then, if you really want to use this for a high-end music, evening or music sessions and things like that, then you may want to use a high-end audio mixture, and then then there should not be any problem, because then as long as you have a way to connect that audio mixture into your computer, and again, it all depends on how you bring your video, because your video is one. There are multiple things, right? Your video is there, then your audio part is also right there. And if your audio is actually coming from your video source, then there won't be any lag. But if these two things are coming from two different channels, then there is always a potential, there's always a chance that they may not be in sync, you know. So that is something that means if you can actually figure out a way that your audio source can connect to your video source somehow. Some of the sophisticated softwares, like the one that I'm using, actually there's a option within that application where you can actually configure audio delay. So how do you do that? Is basically is that you record a session and then bring it into an editor, and with a clap sound, then you can actually count the number of frames that you're off. Then you can adjust that delay. Then you configure that much delay, because I configured 5 frames delay, because this software is also, because my audio and video is coming from two different channels, and when I tested it, there was a bit of off. 5 frames, at least 5 frames were off. So I adjusted it using that advanced option. And my live streaming switch also has that capability to adjust that audio delay, which is something that you should tap into if you want to look into using this for high-end music types sessions and things like that. All right, Vidya.
Hey Vijay, thank you for having me. I think like Jiju said, this is going to be very useful for people who run groups. I am in a lot of Facebook groups, and where we kind of regularly meet. We have meetups, and given that with all the COVID and everything, we haven't had any meetups. So I think this is going to be very useful. We use the live functionality quite a bit in a lot of groups, and given citing your example about Zoom, there was one recent Onam meetup, which is a Zoom call.
Right.
But I think this would have helped. I mean, I think the 50% capacity limit is going to be an issue, but still, I
Right.
think you can still go live from that group meeting, which is going to be very, very helpful. We can at least have 2 or 3 people together going live, not
Right.
just one person. So I think that's going to be beneficial.
Hopefully Facebook will add maybe an ability to add more people, because I don't know whether Facebook didn't say that they are actually competing against Zoom. Zoom, I don't think that they are actually competing, because these two are two different applications, kind of satisfying different needs. One is for business customers, but actually consumers like you and me, using that feature, whatever that free account that Zoom offers, and using it to connect with our family and friends. But that is something that they never saw it's coming, because they just wanted to use it as a marketing technique for business customers to try out and get their high-end the paid license option. Sanjay.
Yeah, I think group Q&A sessions is going to be very, very helpful in groups.
Yes.
Facebook.
And there are, even we use Zoom also for various things. And I think everything that we rely on Zoom, because I never heard about Zoom up until 2 years ago, because I started associating with a nonprofit a group, and they started sending me Zoom invites. And until then, I never heard about that technology at all. Then I started using it, and then I fell in love with it. Then I saw that free option, that 40-minute basic account, right? So I got on it. Then I started using it for my own meetings and things like that. So that's how I got used to it. Sanjay.
Thank you, Vijay. Thank you so much for inviting me into this. I mean, this is definitely, I learned more from people showing me than my own reading. So I appreciate this introduction. Unlike many of you, I'm more of a WebEx user from many years. And only the first time I ever heard of Zoom was 3 months back, literally. I mean, it's like, hey, what's Zoom? And one thing led to the other. Today, I use that for many community gatherings. And I'll give a perspective of what Jiju said, that, high-end user, I mean, that example that he gave, it's such a, what is a luxury, say in 70s, like, or 60s, I'm sorry, and reading a newspaper became a necessity, and then finally it faded out. I would say what our community needs are, we have these Zoom meetings, which has brought in people from all over America, and we record each sessions, we edit those, and that whole audio lag is a challenge, because every other session we have is people performing, and then they have their own audio feed, and it's no longer a high-end thing. I mean, it's a need, right?
Right.
So.
Right. I think the challenge there with the Zoom is that Zoom does everything in the cloud, and that's the only way they can scale. Think about it. You are actually inviting 100 and 2,000 people into your meeting, right? And there is no way a software that runs on your machine can scale at that level. So they have to figure out a way to scale. And the only way they can do it is basically to actually mix everybody's video and audio at a remote location. So basically they take your video and sending it to a completely remote location, and where they do all the encoding and all the complex process. And encoding is the most complex process happens when you do this kind of sessions. Encoding is what means actually when you do editing a movie file, and at the end of your editing, you do export, right? So when you do the export, that is a final film or final movie file. When you export, there is a heavy process that happens behind the scenes called encoding. That means you're converting that movie format from one format to the other format. That's a heavy, intensive, computing intensive process. So during these sessions, actually, there's a constant encoding happening. See what I'm saying? So with 1,000 people, think about it. You need a beefy computer, which is not going to be affordable to many folks.
So
No,
Vijay,
sure.
Yes.
And
because as you had mentioned, I am serving on the board of this nonprofit, a
Right.
DC-based nonprofit called EduGirls. And what we do every year is we have a gala, which is our main fundraising event for the year. That is the bulk of our fundraising comes from that. And a little bit about EduGirls, we raise funds to educate girls in 3 countries, in India, Nepal, and Pakistan. And so this particular event is really critical for us to sustain, our sort of support
Right.
of the 4 schools that we are supporting. Now, with COVID, we're in a complete flux because we can't have that event. And what would have normally happened in May, finally, we are kind of finding our feet and realizing that we need to now go online. So this event will happen online. But within Zoom, we have found that they do have a webinar option. So
Correct.
where you don't have everybody in the same room, you can have, I think, up to 10 people
I
in the
think,
room.
right. It's
Then
called breakout session. Actually, that's what it's called. I think, when
no,
WebEx also has that breakout session. So that is what it's called, a webinar. And you can have if you have a room of 100 people, then you only need 10 people. You can actually select 10 people to have a breakout session. I think that is, yeah. I don't think that this messenger room is meant for that. Like I said, I think Zuckerberg wanted to use this just for for consumers like you and me to connect with family and friends. But if you really want to use a webinar type thing, and then I would highly encourage you to check out Zoom, or maybe maybe high-end web conferencing solutions like WebEx from Cisco. They all have a very battle-tested, time-tested solutions out there. All right.
it's timing also. When it's like when Uber came out, the app was great and all that. Now you can't have any service without that minimum app.
Right.
Zoom has got us, or WebEx for that matter, has got us into certain expectations.
Right.
So like even while you were walking us through, I mean, it was great. I was constantly comparing, hey, what about this? How am I going to do this and that?
Right.
So I think back to your main focus of this session, this has potential. I wish this was there before we got onto that, but
Right.
I'm sure there'll be improvement. So I'll be in a constant lookout. The good part is that you just got me personally introduced to this quicker than I
Right.
would have done that on my own.
Correct, actually, because then even I was not aware of this until recently, because they introduced this feature only in May. So I think right around the time that this pandemic happened in our and crippled our life. So they saw an opportunity, because in Zoom actually taking the market now. Everybody, including the consumers, actually were using Zoom, right? But they never anticipated that change happening. It's all due to the pandemic. So now I think Facebook saw an opportunity, because now with this room, they don't want other apps, so they can actually What happens actually is Facebook. It's a pure business strategy. They want you to use their product, and so that they can spend more time in their domain, right? So that with the room and with actually going live, obviously there are ads placed on your site, on the profile, on the business, not on the business page, but on your personal profile. And most of the consumers, what they do is actually they use their personal profile to go live. They don't have any business page or groups unless they create one. So they can easily place ads on top of this, and then they can make more money. So it's a to me, it's more like a very good business strategic move in creating this and making use of the opportunity. And Zoom did it because Zoom never anticipated that there will be a need for consumers. They never saw that because they never aimed for that. They always wanted to position themselves in the business customer space. But that's how things work, right? Capitalist society.
Sure.
All right. I think
Vijay, someone like me who is so tech challenged,
right. I know.
how does someone like me go about taking advantage of something like this? I mean, it sounds amazing.
See, the thing is that Sangeeta, this is actually, if you, I know that you are a Facebook user, so you use it on a daily basis. But I think there are so many things within the Facebook ecosystem that people like you and maybe to be honest, actually, I didn't explore every aspect of Facebook either. But there are so many things that you can use. And one of them actually is that it's the rooms. Actually, you just have to take a look at it actually. Within, I think it's available to you. And you can actually just click on it and create the room and actually schedule it. I just showed you, right? I think you can actually watch it as a replay. There is on a Facebook, actually, you can schedule this ahead of a time and take it from there. It is so simple. And I think they made it. I don't think that they can make it any simpler than this. I think they made it so simple that any layman like you and me can actually use this feature. But again, technology has advanced so much. I think people are also becoming more sophisticated these days. Now they are using smartphones. Right? I don't think that anybody is using flip phones, right? So we got used to using smartphones. So we also upgraded ourselves, right? I know that people say that tech challenge, but I don't think that. But you also started using smartphones, so you figured out, right, how to use it, right? I'm sure that you will. Once you start using it, this becomes second to nature.
Okay. I take your word.
So see, I like playing with this technology because we have to use it. Otherwise, we can't survive. It has cut across, and it invaded us in a way that we can't live without this. Otherwise, we have to go somewhere else. We can't do our job. We can't do our daily job without relying on technology because I have to use multiple things on a daily basis to keep my work. That's part of my my job. I'm sure that Juju agrees to this. All right, I think anyway, I think it's time for wrap up. And thank you so much, friends, for joining us. And we had a lovely conversation. I hope the conversation is meaningful to people who actually watch this show as a replay. And unless if you have any other questions, we can actually wrap it up. I hope the information that we shared is useful to you. So if you're watching this as a replay, please make sure that you watch the entire show so that you will not miss any information. Just a little thing that I like to touch on is I embedded the Messenger Room session inside a live streaming application. That's how I demonstrated this to you. So there's a chance that their audio may not be synced with their video source. So I just want to say this to you. Unless you have any questions, I will see you in the next one.